Yeah.
So welcome to everyone, and for those who don't know me, my name's Lloyd Daly. Been in business years and years and years, and you know, lots of stuff going on, but it's not really about me tonight at all. So what we're going to look at today is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, which is a business platform, so we'll learn a bit about that later, and how to use LinkedIn to maybe generate some interest, generate some leads, and I guess ultimately to share what we do at Utility Warehouse. Now, this isn't this is the only way to do it type thing. Okay, we're all learning. We can all add, you know, our own thing and help each other. But this is just some of the basics, perhaps, on how to get started on LinkedIn and some of the very first things to do. I should say straight away that the company do have guidelines on what you can and can't do on LinkedIn, which is going to override anything that myself or Rebecca might say this evening. Okay, so you should refer to those guidelines and stick to what it says there as well. So let's hear from Rebecca. So Rebecca, do you just want to introduce yourself to everyone, just who you are, your background, and stuff like that?
Lovely. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca. So I've actually only been with UW for I think about 3 months, so I'm really new to the actual UW kind of family, but I'm really active on LinkedIn, hence why you know, I've been chatting with Lloyd. My background is hair and beauty. You might have heard us. I have previously worked at B&Q as a trading manager. I've got managerial experience, but I'm going back to my hair and beauty roots. So I literally do this. I've started to build my business alongside my full-time position in my little pockets of spare time that I have. And I've had some success using LinkedIn and connecting with the cold market rather than just going straight in with my warm market. So yeah, I'm just going to go through. I'm no expert at LinkedIn, but I am active. So yeah, it's just coming from my experience. I haven't had any training on LinkedIn, nothing. I've literally just been active in using the actual platform.
Fantastic. And it's good to know you're from the hair and beauty background, because I think myself and probably Jerry and Des could do with some guidance on hair and beauty. So, we'll come to you with that a little bit later on. So first of all, Rebecca, I think what it would be really, really good to understand is a little bit about who are the audience on LinkedIn, and what is it? Is it like Facebook? Is it like Twitter? What is it, and who's on there?
Okay, so LinkedIn is basically not Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. It is a professional platform. So everyone on LinkedIn stays professional. Most of the time you will find the odd post that, you know, shouldn't be on LinkedIn. And basically,
is that someone's dog or something like that?
Yeah, it's nothing like that. It is talking about your business or your kind of professional background. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about your professional experience. You know, I've got 3 jobs previously through LinkedIn. So it's all about business and staying professional, sharing your experiences, looking for, you know, you're going to have recruiters on there, such as us, because we are, you know, recruiters in one aspect. So it's just making sure that you stay professional at all times, but it's connecting the world's professionals, not just the UK, it's the world's professionals on LinkedIn.
Okay, and when you say keeping it professional, it all sounds rather boring to me, to be fair. How and it's not on LinkedIn, I have to say.
It's not boring at all.
So how is it made that it's not boring and it is a bit interactive and stuff like that?
I think especially through like the current situation, you know, you can still talk about your personal experiences, because you know, there is a lot of job loss at the moment, and people
Yeah.
are putting a lot about job loss and things like that. So there are some kind of more personal posts, still staying professional, but and it's not boring. It's not boring at all. So you can, you know, I put some quotes up, I share people's quotes, and you know, just about keeping it a positive mindset in this day and age. It's all about uplifting each other, really.
Yeah.
So it's not boring at all.
No. So you mentioned that, and one of the things I find there's quite a lot of is personal development, and
Yeah.
there's people like Simon Sinek or Cynic or however you pronounce it on there and stuff like that. How much of that side of LinkedIn do you engage with?
So I go through, I've got my daily actions that I do every day.
Okay.
So for instance, I've got a 5-5-5 kind of daily aspect, and if I kind of go into that a little bit, so I make sure I message 5 people. I have 5 new connections that I kind of connect with different people every day, and I comment, share, or like 5 different posts. So I will scroll through LinkedIn.
Okay.
But I definitely think it's more of a community on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
And like UW, all about the community, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I find on LinkedIn it's people are a bit nosy. So
Yeah,
it's almost
definitely.
like if you go and look at somebody's profile, you can almost guarantee that they're going to go and look on your profile, and
Yeah.
it's a bit like that. So is there a way, which we probably learn a bit later on, of using that to your advantage?
The one thing that you can do, so I know some partners in UW who really have success with Facebook, but I always find I'm quite straight to the point kind of person, and
Yeah.
I find with LinkedIn that because it is professionals, it's very straight to the point. There's, you know, you don't have to. I'm still about building a relationship with people who I connect with. But you can be straight to the point and really upfront on LinkedIn with people. Obviously, you know,
Okay.
staying polite.
Yeah. Yeah. But you don't have to tend to go into. There aren't that many posts of dogs and cats and you know, here's little Johnny. And I noticed on LinkedIn there were no back to school photos on LinkedIn, whereas on Facebook it was almost purely back to school photos. So is that something that we can use to our advantage in when we're sort of like on there looking for people and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I connect with people who I feel I can relate to. So such as like the retail workers. I know that some retail businesses are, you know, not, you know, in trouble or struggling or whatever. So I feel like I can relate to retail workers. So you'll find a lot of my connections
Yeah.
are with people who I can relate to. So, you know, especially through COVID, obviously there was no hair and beauty. I can connect with them because I have a mobile beauty business on the side,
Uh-huh.
and I can do any of that through COVID. So I was connecting with those people as well.
Okay.
So connect with the people who you feel that you can relate to,
Okay.
I think, on
Right.
LinkedIn.
We are going to have a look at LinkedIn in just a moment, but
Yeah.
before we do that, are there any major big no-nos on LinkedIn? Are there things that definitely you shouldn't be doing whilst on the platform?
Yes, I've made a little list of kind of do's and don'ts.
Okay.
So if I kind of just run through them, you'll have to apologise. I can't, I've done so much training that I can't literally take anything else in, so I've had to write it down.
Okay, sure.
So do's, so when sharing content, your goal must always be to provide value to your target audience.
Okay.
So personalizing, so when you're connecting with people and they accept you,
Uh-huh.
can basically personalize those messages. So why did you connect with that person, and personalize that message? So obviously later on in the modules, we'll go through kind of what type of message
Yeah.
that you could use.
Okay.
Um, and make it relevant to them, because one thing that you will find is I have written down, remember, it's not about you, it's all about them on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
people are always looking for solutions. So I always think, remember WIIFM, which stands for what's in it for me.
Yeah.
So that's what they're thinking. So when they look at your post, so that's why I think just make it relevant to your target audience. And who's viewed your profile. So if you're not following up with the people who've looked at your profile, you potentially could be missing out on possible prospects.
Okay.
So why did they have a look at your profile? It could be that you've just commented on a post and they were just intrigued to find out what your profile looked like or something. But it could be a potential prospect. And I've also put, do update your headshot, because I think, it's not Facebook. You can't put on there, you can't put a headshot that's going to look unprofessional. I think, you need to look smart and tidy.
Okay.
Were you going to say something?
No.
No.
Apart from I probably need to have a haircut and smarten myself up.
Your photo's lovely on LinkedIn. It's absolutely fine. So I've also put, don't ignore requests just because you don't know them.
Okay.
Don't confuse Facebook audience with LinkedIn. That's a big one. Don't spam your connections, but always be genuine with your message.
Okay.
So, don't, and I have done this in the past and it hasn't worked for me. Yeah. So, you have to personalize your messages. So I have previously copy and pasted every message, because I think, you can send it to everyone. You won't necessarily get a response when you do that. So you need to be genuine why you're connecting with them. I've also put, do not criticize others or bring negativity. I'm a really positive person. I've got a strong mindset, and I just ignore any kind of negativity on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And don't forget to check and reply to comments.
Yeah.
And one other thing is that always be prompt where possible to react into your messages. If they do respond to the message that you've sent them, always be prompt with your message, I think.
I mean, one of the things I've found in LinkedIn is, like, if you're sharing content, and it could be anything, it's better to go from the point of view of being open and asking for opinion, rather than saying, this is what I think, do you agree? So you'll see a post I've put on recently which is related to UW and our fantastic hamper promotion and stuff like that, and the question I ask is food a good incentive, for people?
I think that depends on the person. Absolutely. I'm really food orientated, so it totally kind of motivates me.
But the idea is to try and create and generate discussion, rather than say a statement, this is that, or that's that. And if you see some of the best posters, Simon Sinek and others, that is what they're doing. They're trying to open discussion and engage people in that. And I think that's a great way of connecting with the people you're connected with, and then sort of thinking, oh, this person is a balanced person or whatever, and again, if you compare it to Facebook, where there's sort of pitch battles going on Facebook about, should I wear a mask or should I not wear a mask? You don't have the same thing on LinkedIn. It's more of a discussion about something, and again, trying to keep away from politics, religion and all those sort of stuff, and keeping it to more sort of business issues and stuff like that.
I am in the process of doing a LinkedIn makeover with my profile.
Okay.
So I've looked at some people's profiles, and my about section is a prime example at the moment about being egocentric. So I talk all about me and my experiences, and I'm going to change it to client centric. Okay. So I'm going to make it about what I can offer them, And later on in the modules, I'll talk about more about the about section, about what you can put in there,
Okay.
about what you can, what information, basically. I'll give you some ideas and break it down to make it more beneficial.
Okay, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because we are going to have a look at a couple of profiles. I'm going to look at my profile, I'm going to look at your profile, and,
Yeah.
and the interesting thing about that is that they're two totally different profiles. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's just what you're comfortable with to begin with, and it's also, these are changeable, you know. So the profile I've got that you can see that I'm just going to go through at the moment, I don't always have this on there as a profile. So it's almost like from different things, and it's always testing and stuff like that. So if we do look at a quick look at this is what I would call a UW profile. So if somebody looked at this profile, there's no doubt that I'm a partner with Utility Warehouse. If I go down to this section here, I say I'm a partner with Utility Warehouse, so there's now no doubt about that. Now, there are two schools of thought here. There's a school of thought that says, well, this might put people off straight away. So some people might view the profile and say, oh, UW, I know all about that, and move on. And I fully accept that. And there's also another school of thought that says totally, well, I want somebody who's open-minded, so they've gone to my profile and they've still engaged. It means they're genuinely interested. Neither of them are right or wrong. They're just two different schools of thought. So if we just click onto your profile, okay, your profile doesn't mention UW at all.
So I am, and even with my makeover, I'm not necessarily going to mention UW because I like the concept of them being intrigued.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, two trails of thought.
Absolutely.
And that's what I like to be able to go in with a conversation about UW. It's just two different.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it's important, and what I wanted to get across to everyone listening is that there isn't a right or wrong. It is just your preference, and you can very quickly change it to be totally different. So what I just want to do is just run through a couple of basic things to start give people a taste of what's to come. And I think on the next module we'll start actually build a profile and stuff like that. So some of the things you see on here, first of all, this is what they call a header. Okay, and you see here a nice purple UW header, and I've added this sentence on there, which again is easily to do in fact, I think I did that on PowerPoint. So these sort of things are very simple to do, and believe me, if I've done them, then they must be very, very easy to do. Okay, and then as we come through and look at someone's profile, you've got this section here, which is almost like a brief overview of what is happening and what I do. And on my one, I've put the website there, and then I've got the about section. And if I expand that, it's all about what some of the things I've helped people with. You've got there the big how I can help you make money or save money, and you will be familiar with all this type of thing of typical to Utility Warehouse. Okay, and one of the things we mustn't forget, we sometimes have this opinion that everybody's heard of Utility Warehouse, and there are still lots and lots of people who've never heard of Utility Warehouse.
Yeah.
And then if we go down here, we got this featured section here, and these are some things here. This links to the It's Your Life magazine. Here I'm talking about cars and stuff like that, and there's some other stuff in there, and it's all bright and colourful. My dashboard, I'll go on to that in a moment, and then my experience here. And this goes back to, you know, Lloyd's Bank and everything like that. And this bit here, where is it? Is my activity. So what it is I'm posting, what am I commenting on, and the sort of engagements and reactions on there. So one of the things I just want to show you, and we did this, or I did this leading up to this because I knew I was doing it. If I look on who viewed your profile here, you can see here just as a percentage And here we had, it was bumbling along, bumbling along, bumbling along. And I thought, right, for this, I knew I was going to do this. Let me do some of the 5 a day and do it on a regular basis and a consistent basis. And look what happened. The engagement of people who view my profile went up because I was engaging. Okay. And then deliberately went back to occasionally doing stuff, and you can see it's come down again. Okay. So what that tells us is that the more active you are on there is the more engagement. Do you find that as well? I know you mentioned 5 a day, which we're going to look at. How do you do that on a consistent basis?
Yes, yeah. Apart from the last week, with this training, it's up until the last week. Yes, I do it every single day, and I find, so you might find that actually you can only manage 3 messages a day, or 3 new connections per day, and then 3 likes or comments or shares or whatever.
Yeah.
You need to do what works for you. For me, 555 works for me.
Yeah.
So you need to find what works for you. You might be able to fit in more one day, less one day, but I find planning my activity works for me. I have to be really organized.
And if you look at this peak here, this is 38 views. So that's 38 different people that have viewed my profile in that week. So that is the sort of thing you can get engaged with if you're consistent on it. And a good example here, and I didn't set this up, and so this has just come in. So this is Mel, who's viewed my profile. I don't know Mel, okay? I don't know where she's come from or why she's viewed my profile or anything like that. But one of the things we would do, so I would click on Mel, which I did earlier, to find out who she is and what is the story. So interestingly, at the moment, we've got a lot of this going on because of the pandemic. Mel's open to work, and you can tell they're actively seeking work. Okay. And we've got a lot of that going on at the moment. So what I did earlier with Mel is I connected with Mel, sent her a message and said, I can't remember what I said, because I don't cut and paste either. I try and make it individual. And I've just said something along the lines, oh, I've seen you had a look at the profile, love to connect to find out how I can help you. Okay, just something like that. And I think this one's still pending. So it depends how you look at that. And this is a really, really good example of someone coming to you and looking at your profile, and they sort of like may be interested in what we do. And if we went in the search button and I typed looking for opportunities, you can see at the moment there's lots of people
with
looking
that on their
for opportunities. So this is almost like a list of people who are saying, I'm looking for an opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that something, and we are going to go through this in a later module in more detail. Is that something you use, Rebecca, to try and
so I have previously put in retail workers looking for work or looking for opportunities, and honestly at the moment the list is like endless. So there's lots of people out there, and you can connect with all those people, but just make the message, so make sure you look through their profile, and then you're actually going to be speaking to them, not just copy and pasting the message, because you'll find that a lot of people just don't respond with that. Can I just stop? Chris and Colleen have asked, do you connect or avoid connections with other UW partners?
So I personally don't, because one of the things we'll talk about in a later day is engagement. So if I put a post up, I want engagement, because the LinkedIn algorithms, if it gets engagement early, it will keep putting it at the top of lists, because it thinks, okay, people are interested in. And whether we like it or not, the best people we're going to get engagement from is other UW people. So as long as it's not overboard and it's all your connections, then I'm connected to several UW people. How do you see that one, Rebecca?
Yeah, so I've got a few UW partners as connections on LinkedIn. I have to say I don't connect with everyone with UW. I've not done a search or anything.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so I've not got that many on
yeah.
LinkedIn.
Well, I think
Um,
it's slightly different because you've been in the business 3 months. I've been in the business 24 years. So
exactly,
it's
yeah,
going to be a little bit different. But if we go back to look at Simon here, so again, looking at his profile, head of operations, direct, quite a high level professional person. Okay. But that's not to make a judgment and to say, oh, he's not going to be interested or he is. He's in Bristol. So if Des is still on the call, he's in your territory. Okay. And again, this would be something I would just drop him a message and just say, look, hi, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So it doesn't have to be anything great. I certainly wouldn't try and sell on that message. I would try and connect and take the view of how can I help you? Is there someone I can connect you to? Is the UW opportunity going to be something? But if it isn't, that's fine. And just generally try to help and see if we can make something of that connection.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
we are going to, again, just some of the other quick things that so let me come out of this and literally I can't stress enough, there are tens of thousands of people here just on that one search looking for opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Literally
Yeah,
tens of thousands. So you, even if you went through it on a regular basis, it would take you probably years and years and years to go through. So high connections, work from home. You can see that. Hi everyone, I'm looking for a new role. Appreciate your support. There's literally hundreds of them. Actually, hundreds of them. So I just want to end this bit by just showing a couple of recent posts. I think it is. Let me just go back to here.
So has I don't know if we can unmute everyone. Has everybody got a LinkedIn profile that's on the call tonight?
You can unmute yourself if you want to, but is there anyone who doesn't have a LinkedIn profile? So Jane hasn't got a, I can't actually see anybody else on here, so. But one of the things we will do is we can cover that and cover the basics. So if I go on my sort of like notifications, Natalie Leanne, many of you would have heard of Natalie Leanne. She uses LinkedIn a lot. She's a UW partner. And this is actually a good example of a type of post. Okay. And I actually think this is a good explanation why in our business sometimes people don't join. And I don't know if you can read it there. I'll read it out. And it says, I've seen lots of posts recently from people that have congratulated themselves for taking on a job they never thought in a million years that they would do. Some, not all, announcements are tinged with a "this role is beneath me, but I did it anyway" tone, which of course is arrogant on all levels, but part of me congratulates these people for stepping out their comfort zone. And she goes on to say that she was in that position as a teacher and stuff like that. And until she sat down and listened to someone about UW, she would have dismissed it. Okay. And it's a great way to understand why some people just totally dismiss UW before they've actually had a look at it. But so that's good. So if you scroll through here, and great thing as well is utility warehouses on there. So this was a post that they put out about Andrew planting the first tree, and you can see there I've shared that, and again I've shared it, looking for discussion and stuff like that. So that's stuff you can do. This is the one I said about my food thing. Is food a good motivator for your staff? And that's just opening, comment with how you incentivize your people. And that's just looking for engagement. And again, it's still getting the utility warehouse name out there. And suddenly people might just be thinking, oh, I thought it was this and this. This looks quite cool. And it's just getting out stuff like that without saying buy. So one of the things, Rebecca, you'll never see me do, I don't know if you do the same, is you'll never see me post, look at our gas deal or look at our mobile phone deal or stuff like that. Is that something you try to avoid as well?
Yeah, I won't ever put a post up like that. I work from them being really intrigued. So I'm like this mysterious woman.
Okay.
But and that's how I've got some of my successes through LinkedIn at the minute.
Right. So I know recently you sponsored a partner through LinkedIn, Jason, I think it is. Can you just tell everyone just to sort of wrap up this module, how that came about? How did you know Jason, or how did that come about from LinkedIn?
So this is a prime example of I literally typed in retail workers looking for opportunities, and I kind of went through them and connected with Jason. I can't remember what I saw in his profile that I liked, but anyway, I saw something. I messaged him, and I think it took him about a week to get back to me, to be fair.
Okay.
And then the conversation just flowed. I asked him, you know, is he open? Is he looking for a specific opportunity? Because some people will be really upfront and say, do you know what, I'm looking for, you know, a specific job. And they don't want to hear about anything else. And Jason was really open. So I got him on a presentation. He listened to the presentation, completely got the business model. And then I gave him a couple of days, and we arranged another kind of like a little Zoom.
Okay.
And then I kind of just said, kind of, what are your thoughts? He wanted to go away and speak to his partner, which was fine. But that's one thing that you will find. It's very rare when you go into the cold market that you will get somebody sign up there and then. It's very rare. So you will always need to follow up. And schedule a time. I generally schedule a time for 2 days after. I think 48 hours is plenty of time to think about it. They can come back with any questions. And that's exactly what Jason done. And then he decided, to go for it. What is there to lose? Because, you know, they've got 90 days. If it doesn't work, then they can have a full refund.
Absolutely.
I think that's, you know, there's nothing to lose for them. And it's a brilliant opportunity. And obviously Jason saw that.
Fantastic. Okay, so what we're going to do, so just going through as well here, just some final bits you saw me do. So my notifications, so I've had another view. Chris, I think, is on this call as well. So he's multitasking while he's listening. And oh, look, there's a friend request there from Chris. So I'll just ignore that. No, I won't. I'll accept that and go and have a chat with Chris a little bit later. So what we're going to be doing later on, and let me just stop sharing this. So that was really the first intro, if you like, into LinkedIn and potentially what we can do. So next week, what we're going to look at is start building a profile. We're going to, some of the things we want to say, some of the things we don't want to say and stuff like that. And if people have got a profile, then, you know, they can be connected to their profile and we can look to help them build that. And then what we're also going to have a look at next week is how in more details you can gain some connection. So going into some of those searches and stuff like that, and perhaps look at who to follow. There's some people I follow. I follow the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi, which me and him are like friends now. You know, and it's interesting that you can have someone in the, you know, high up in politics that will respond and stuff like that on LinkedIn. So we'll cover that a little bit, and always also looking at content and stuff like that, and when to post. So just going to finish here. If anybody's got any questions, I'm not a great one of looking at the chat. I don't know if you've looked at the chat, Rebecca.
Yeah. So is that Chris Gamer McClure? Sorry, I'm really bad with names.
Yeah.
So he sent you a request, Lloyd.
Yeah, we just looked at
he has 2 potential people to join. They are thinking about over the weekend, and he found them through LinkedIn.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so perfect. Oh, and everyone's found it really useful, so that's good.
Brilliant, fantastic.
Yeah.
So we are going to sign off, and I will bung this on a YouTube link and get it out there so we can all share that. And then if you join us again next week, then we'll get into the meat of building a profile, how it looks, some content, and some real stuff. And then between now and then, if you have got a LinkedIn profile and stuff like that, you know, start playing around with it. There's not really mistakes you can make. Start playing around with it. Start engaging with some things. Have a look at the search button, put in some keywords and see what happens. And we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So final word, Rebecca.
Yeah, just have a little play around with your LinkedIn profiles, and for the people who don't have LinkedIn profiles yet, we'll give you all the tools, hopefully give you all the tools to build your profile. But I would say with the people who do, just try and connect with the people that you know, not necessarily all UW people, but generally all business people that you know. Just connect with them.
Fantastic. Well done. We are going to get cut off in a minute. So thanks for coming on, and we'll see you all next week.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Well done.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone.